listeners, and welcome to another episode of Get Smarter, an LCE podcast. In a previous podcast, we discussed how a reliability transformation and moving to a culture that focuses on asset management and reliability happens in a process or a series of seasons rather than in steps. Now, in this podcast, we're going to fast forward to the future of operations. Today, we're with Rick Wheeler. Welcome, Rick, to the podcast.
All right, thanks.
Rick is the Vice President of Professional Services at Lifecycle Engineering. He has a broad range of experience in the pharmaceutical, chemical, and nuclear industries. Rick is instrumental in developing Lifecycle Engineering's Industry 4.0 services that leverage our thought leadership and asset management, and is in the spotlight while LCE tries to help our clients envision and prepare for the future of operations. So, Rick, you were telling me that the future of operations is lights out autonomous operations. And you mentioned that according to some research, 50% of manufacturing leaders, that's half of manufacturing leaders today, have some sort of autonomous plant initiative ongoing. So this is very top of mind for a lot of our listeners. But I want to first level set our audience today on what lights out operations or lights out manufacturing is it where requirements for humans for human intervention or activity is so minimal that a facility can operate without a human workforce on site? So is that how you describe this vision of a factory of the future?
Yeah, really. I mean, the people talking about really having the process so reliable and so consistent that you can literally have your lights out in your facility, that these lines and these assembly lines, manufacturing lines will run autonomously with signals sent to a core group that can come react whenever something's happening. So it's not, no touch at all, but it's not something that you have to have operations people standing there staring at the line all day running while it's running.
Right. So remote. So why do you think autonomous operations is such a driver, so appealing for industrial leaders today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of forces. There's, competition, market forces. There's certainly, the marketing efforts around the technology are more and more where people are saying, hey, that sounds pretty cool. But, one of the things that I see most when we talk to our clients is just the lack of ability to even attract and retain enough staff to operate their facilities. It's almost an imperative now for companies because of the labor shortage of qualified people that want to go into manufacturing, those type of things. So it's really driven by a lot of market forces, but particularly seems like in the last few years, really, we work with people that are, have dozens of open job requirements and they just cannot staff their facilities. So it's almost something they're going to have to do to be able to continue to compete.
Well, and also, there are thought leaders out there and discussions out there too about how the increased technology, automation, how that could be attractive to a new workforce as well. So there's kind of that meeting of the two where there's a lack of skilled workers, but the technology offers new opportunities for a new workforce of digital natives, that this is very comfortable environment for them. So that's interesting too. And just to pull on that thread a little bit, what are some observations that you've seen about how people in the current state, because to me this sounds so futuristic, it doesn't sound like something that could happen tomorrow. It sounds like something I would see in a movie. And so how do people who are thinking like me, or who are in a current state of operations, that this seems pretty far away, a brave new world, if you will. So how do people try to move from their current state into a readiness for this autonomous operation?
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of time in the evolution of this, because a McKinsey study said about 70% of digital transformation attempts have failed to this point. So what's happening there is people are taking a technology forward approach. They you can go out there in the marketplace and you can buy these sensors and this AI and machine learning. You can buy a lot of things and
cool stuff.
Yeah, right, great stuff, and it's has its application, but when it's viewed as a technology project, then it's going to have issues. It's going to have some probability of failure, because we have found that you really have to have a balance of the technology and the people and the process. But it really starts with getting the people engaged and as participating as part of the journey.
So can you talk to me more about that balance? Because it is definitely interesting. In order for us to go to autonomous operations, we have to lead with the people first.
Right.
Or a balance, as you said, between people, process, and technology. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that balance?
Sure, sure. Well, we've been in, business 45 plus years, doing asset
Hmm.
management. So, we've had a little experience with kind of implementing these programs, helping people transform from a reactive to a proactive. And certainly Industry 4.0 digital transformation is the next evolution of that proactive environment. But we really, you really need to take a risk-based approach. You really need to understand what assets matter to your value stream, how they fail, what mitigation strategies, PM strategies, control strategies, how do you operate, maintain those assets to maximize that reliability and the performance, that
Hmm.
delivers that bottom line. So I think it's really important that, you have those kind of framework there. But then again, what we have found in our practice is, if you don't engage the people on that journey, if you just think we can just come down there and give people new tools and just tell them to go follow these new procedures and processes, you're going to have lack of participation, lack of sustainability. So you really have to focus on some organizational change management, which
Hmm.
is the process of driving change for the people. You have to focus on that throughout that project, then apply their skills, their knowledge, engage them in that journey of, okay, what are our risks? How do we manage risk? How do we maintain? How do we operate this equipment? They know more than any of us what's really going on in their production line and what the failures
Hmm.
are and what the nuisances are and the things they have to do to make it run. So it really is engaging those people across that. But again, taking that risk-based approach. Some of the failures that we've seen where companies have gone out there and said, hey, they've bought $1 million worth of remote sensors, and then they're saying, geez, OEE didn't improve. What's going on? It's like, well, because you just kind of shotgun and scattered those sensors out through the organization, through the equipment, with no process around it, with no thought about the risk
Right.
and the failure mode, and what are you trying to accomplish, and who's going to get that message, who's going to get that signal from that device that says there's a problem, and what are they supposed to do about it? So, without having that holistic view of it, again, if you look at it as a technology solution, you're going to miss the mark on really driving bottom line performance improvement.
Yeah, you'll be part of that 70%. I mean, that's really a powerful number. That
Mhm.
7 out of 10, you know, uh, don't get the results that they're looking to achieve from the technology.
Mhm.
Thinking about the people, thinking about the risks to your operations, thinking about what assets you have, which ones are the most critical to even put those sensors on,
Right.
and what failures are you trying to get
Mhm.
under control. So you've definitely sold me. And not just because I also work for life cycle engineering and have seen the work that you and the transformations, that you've and some of our teams have been a part of. So yeah, you've sold me. So how does someone start? Right? What are some recommendations you could give to someone who wants to embark on this journey of getting an understanding of their risk, getting the people involved, and moving into this new era? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I think sometimes people look for a real high tech answer to that, but realistically, I think like any journey, it starts with understanding what are we trying to accomplish, right? Where's our
Right.
destination? Then it includes engaging the workforce in that journey, right? Setting that vision. Here's where we want to go. Here's what we want to accomplish. But we need all of us collectively to help, right? We do that within our business. We do that with our clients. We
Hmm.
really help gain that alignment up and down the organization, because we all have a part to play in that. And if we're not engaged and if we're not feeling involved in that, then we can become resistant. We can kind of cause issues in the success of that
Right.
transformation. So really it is having a journey of a destination in mind. But I think it's also, we need to look at that and say, let's not reinvent the wheel too, right? So there are people that have been successful. There are proven paths, like you can do it the hard way. You can blaze your own trail, or you can say,
Right.
okay, let me look at people that have done this, learn from
Sure.
their failures, learn from their successes. Let me replicate what makes sense to my organization, and what can we do that can we have a saying, we can help you not step on the landmines, because we've stepped on them over the 45 years, right? In our careers and as a
Right.
company, we've made the mistakes, we've got the scars. So engage with an experienced guide, if you will, to help you navigate that, and you'll be most successful quick. You'll reach success quickly, the most quickly, right? You'll start gaining the benefits of the program you're pursuing. So but it's again,
Agree.
it's not real high tech. It's just, let's know where we're going and why we're going there, and let's engage our workforce in accomplishing that.
Right. Well, and then when you have the foundations in place, when you know truly where you are, you've worked with somebody to do that gap assessment. So you know where you are, you know what you need to work on to get those foundations in place. You make the plan to get that house sorted first,
Mhm.
and then you put the technology in. Then you put the technology in,
Right. Right.
once you're ready for it and you know what you want it to do.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's probably going to be a long journey for some organizations.
Sure.
So for our listeners on the line who may not be aware of all that our reliability and asset management
Mhm.
community has out there, for resources, like you said, you don't have to blaze a trail by yourself, or try to implement a plan in a vacuum. There are resources out there to help. So
Yeah.
what are some that you would point our listeners
Yeah.
to get started?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of great information out there around this topic. Again, it's some of it's kind of marketing driven, right? It's saying how great
Sure.
their
Yeah.
centers are and things like that, obviously, but what we've found is, over 45 years, of in the asset management business, we've built a solid foundation of business processes. So we are a big believer in the ISO 55000 standard. So it has a great framework for the overall ownership of asset management being across the organization
Yes.
from top to bottom. So what we've developed is a set of processes, procedures, tools, templates that actually help people implement those practices. Think of it as kind of the playbook. We actually call it our LC Smartr playbook, and that's got those tools in it. It's got those processes. It's got step definitions and RASIs and job descriptions and everything you would need to
Mm-hmm.
kind of say, okay, here's the roadmap. If we're talking about that journey, here's a proven roadmap, right? We've used this to help people become certified to ISO 55000. We've used this to help countless clients improve their OE and improve their bottom line. So, so again, you don't have to blaze that trail. Find that guide that can by your side that can kind of help you through that. But our LC Smartr playbook's a great place. Assessments, those type of things are great. Like
Right.
any journey, you want to know where you're going. What's my gaps to get there, and then what procedures and processes do I put in place to close those gaps? And the business case, the return on that investment. What's that worth to me as a business if I can do that?
Well, that's the key too, right? That's going to get the attention, of the leaders, that with their support, that 70% could turn around, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning the namesake of our podcast. We do call it the Smartr Playbook, because the processes, the education, the tools and the resources were all uh, curated for that element of smart culture,
Mhm.
which is supposed to drive smart operations, autonomous operations, if you will, the future of
Right.
operations.
Right.
Um, so that's really excellent guidance, Rick. And finally, if you could leave one final thought for our audience, say for our listeners out there, what would it be?
Yeah. So I guess let me give you two final thoughts on it. So the
Okay, we'll give
first,
you two.
okay. So the first one is, again, while autonomous operations, lights out operation may be the destination or the target, many companies will get to a certain point and say, okay, that's far enough along that journey. So I don't want people to think, well, if you don't reach that, it's going to be abject failure of your program, right? So because again, it's the movement toward that, and I think that's important to figure out what the business conditions
Right.
are and what return on investment. So how far do you need to go? depends on what the return on investment is. So again, we're moving toward that as a manufacturing and as an industry, but we may not all accomplish that. Some processes are highly complicated, highly variable, and they may not be learn themselves very well for that kind of processing.
Right.
But so again, don't think if I don't reach perfection, I've failed, right? It's a journey, and you need to figure out where you need to go. And then the second thing, as I've mentioned before, I mean, it's just, I don't keep beating the drum, but we found, and I found personally, it's so important, is just engage the people, right? Don't do this remote. Don't do this to them. Do this with them, right? Engage them in this journey. You'll be amazed the participation and the great ideas that the people in your organization have that can drive this. And maybe if I can throw in a third one, and get that guide, right? Get somebody to help you not repeat the mistakes that other people have made.
So yes, take the SMART journey.
The SMART, yeah.
The SMART journey, and engage the people. And I think that's really important what you said about that even if you don't reach that panacea, that perfection, that lights out operations, that may not be right for your operations. That may not be what success is defined as, so it's not one size fit all. You have to know what your business goals are, and then what's going to get you there.
Right.
And it's a journey. So thank you so much for your guidance and for your thoughts. So it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Also, I want to tell our listeners, if you'd like to explore more about this topic, you will head to lce.com or lcmarketplace.com to get sign up, and you will get access to the 7 building blocks for digital transformation. It's a free online course. We also have a downloadable article that has assessment, a readiness assessment. So that will help you define your current state, and then on this journey, on this path that we've been talking about to autonomous operations. Also, if you're interested in learning more about the LC Smartr playbook, or how we can help you get closer to your desired future state, contact us at info@lce.com. So thank you, listeners, for joining us so much. And we'll see you next time on Get Smarter, where we'll be discussing the people side of change management, which Rick has mentioned several times about organizational change management, getting the people engaged. So we're going to explore that a little bit deeper in our next session. So thank you again, Rick. And until next time, listeners, let's stay smarter, people.